Joining us now is Stuart Varney. He's the host of Varney and Company on Fox Business, weekdays at 9:20 a.m. Always good to have you, Stuart. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Larry. Good to be here.
Here, President Obama has put forth his budget finally, better late than never, I suppose. And as usual with his budgets, I don't think it's going to go anywhere in the House or the Senate. He rarely gets any votes, even from his own party. But a document like this does sort of tell us about where the president stands philosophically about the role of government and what he can do with your money. What does this budget tell you about the president in those terms?
The president is intent on redistribution, not growth and prosperity. I don't call it a budget, Larry. I call it a tax increase plan, tax the rich plan, because that's really what it is. There will be no dropping of the debt. There will be no reduction in spending. There will be a heavy emphasis on taxing the rich. There's going to be the Buffett rule. You pay 30% of your income if you're wealthy, at least. There's going to be a cap on IRAs, a tax on cigarettes. There's going to be a cap on deductions. You name it, if you make serious money, you're going to pay a whole lot more. My position is it doesn't work. We've already taxed the rich, and it's not produced jobs or prosperity or growth. More of the same will not produce a different result. I don't like this budget. It's not a budget. It's a tax increase plan, period.
All right, so there's this one thing we keep hearing about that says that the president wants to limit how much money you might be able to spend from your IRA accounts once you retire. In other words, if you've done all the right things and you've decided, I can't depend on Social Security, I'm going to take care of myself, and you start packing the money over the years, and you're doing everything that you should do and that they've told you should do, now the government wants to come in and say, yeah, but you can't spend that money like you want to spend it.
Yeah, you don't need that much.
It sends, yes, there's 2 points to be made here. Number one, it sends a terrible message to youngsters. If you're in your 20s or your 30s, you should be putting away pension money now. This discourages that. That's a pointless and fruitless exercise. Number two, the White House in a statement said, we know how much you need. You don't need all of that money. You don't need it. So they're defining what you need. You work, you save, as Brian says, you do all the right things, but they tell you what you need. I think it's one of the worst possible messages to send to young people and savers in general that I have ever heard.
Yeah, there was another little clip from that budget. I saw it yesterday, sort of excerpted, which said that basically, to me it said, we've given up. And that is that they don't expect the economy to grow beyond about 2 or 3% for the foreseeable future. That's sort of like just admitting defeat, is it not?
Yes, it's a gesture of despair, in fact, in many ways. The one thing that we need that would really help us with our financial situation in the future is growth. We must have growth. If you have growth of 4%, 5%, 6%, like we did in the Reagan years, then you can grow the Treasury's receipts. Then you can grow employment. More people are paying taxes. They're coming off the public rolls. If you've got growth, you've got a partial solution to our problems. This budget, this tax hiking plan, does not give us growth. At best, 3%. That is pathetic.
Stuart Varney, I'd love to ask you about something that happened just last night here in Washington, D.C. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, went to Howard University, and everyone, it was very much touted as, he's going into enemy territory because Howard University, of course, one of the most famous legacy African-American colleges in America. And Rand Paul, we always want conservatives and libertarians, Republicans to go in and start talking to the voting base that generally doesn't go our way. So he went in, and I want you to listen to this quick question and answer. First, the question from the student to Rand Paul. Mike, it's cut 29. Cut 29 is the one we want to start with. And listen to this question, Stuart Varney, because I think it really talks about the philosophical divide we have right now in American politics.
You say you want to provide a government that leaves us alone. Quite frankly, I don't want that. I want a government that is going to help me. I want a government that will help me fund my college education.
And here is Rand Paul's quick answer.
So even though I think your education is important and maybe you have a student loan from the government, I'm not for borrowing it from China. I'm for figuring out how we get it out of the $2.6 trillion that comes in every year, because I think if we borrow it from China, we're going to give you a student loan, you're going to graduate from Howard, and you're going to have $60,000 in debt, and then you got no job.
Stuart Varney, he didn't get a whole lot of applause with that.
No, but it's the difference between the individual's situation and our society's situation. I can understand the young individual. He's at college. He wants a low-interest rate loan. I got it. I understand that. He wants that from the government. But from the big picture, society's point of view, we can't afford this. We've already got $1 trillion worth of student debt outstanding, and it's rising rapidly. That's money we don't have. We've got to borrow it from China. And what we need more than anything else, again, is growth and jobs. I'm sure that that young man who asked that question would just as much want a job, a good-paying job in a growing economy, as he does a low-interest rate student loan. I'm sure of that.
All right, so at the end of the day, here was an opportunity for the President of the United States to lay down I mean, he had plenty of time to work on it because it was 65 days late. But he had a chance to lay down a document that actually could have tried to find items of compromise with the other side that would move this thing forward, and he basically just said, no, I'm doubling down on everything I believe.
What he points out as a compromise is this chain inflation link on Social Security. That is a minuscule reduction in the rate of increase in future Social Security benefits. If that's compromise, it's no compromise to me at all. Social Security and Medicare are leading us towards national bankruptcy. And to make a change of 1/4 cent in the next generation's worth of benefits, 1/4 cent, that's all you're doing. Maybe that is not a compromise. That is not a solution. That's a recipe for disaster.
All right, Stuart Varney, always good to have you. Really quickly, do you have a favorite in the Masters this weekend? Who you picking?
Looks like Tiger to me.
All right, he's in with Tiger. All right, Stuart Varney, thanks for joining us. He's the host of Varney and Company, Fox Business Week.